morning and welcome to another episode of Hard Factor. It is a Florida Man Friday, August 23rd. Our top stories for the day. I'm going to take us through a little discussion of Hassan Piker's stance on Dan Crenshaw.
Well, that sounds like a fun one, Will.
Yeah, you guys hear about that? See about that?
But after that, Florida Man Friday.
Yeah, but most of the show will be fun.
Right. After that, Pat, and Wes will take us on an all Florida Man news buffet. And
get your
going,
sleevelesses out. Get your sleeveless tees out. Get your tanks out.
Wes is wearing a tank.
Young and vibrant. Should say middle-aged and fat, but
it kind of does say it, Wes, just not in text.
All right, before we get going tonight, the Soft Corner shirt has now been made a collector's item. So to the few of us who bought them before it got pulled, I will buy you a beer forever on site if I see you in that shirt. But to everybody else, check out the new Hard Factor logo tee we just put out, and be on the lookout for a Florida Man tee coming soon.
Yeah, it's fire. It's got mug shots inside the state outline.
yeah, it's
great.
killer.
You're going to love it, unless you're from Florida.
Yeah, unless you're on the mug shots. Unless you're one of the mug shots.
Right. No, even I think if you're from Florida, you'd love it even more.
They got the long neck guy. He's my favorite mug shot of all time. The guy with like a 16-inch neck.
The odds are you're related to someone on the shirt, so if you live in Florida. But that's a whole other thing. Let's do it.
All right, let's get into Hassan Piker eating the trash. So we don't normally like to cover stories that are basically just the parties beefing with one another, like political pundits. But here's one that's wild enough and close enough to Hard Factor that we're going to go for it this time. So former Hard Factor guest Hassan Piker of the Young Turks said some shit that I think he would probably want to take back. And if he doesn't want to take it back, then I think he must just be going crazy.
Yeah, he's a completely huge raging asshole otherwise. Yeah.
Let's get into it. It all started when Republican Representative Dan Crenshaw went on the Joe Rogan Experience podcast, and I haven't listened to the episode yet, but Pat assures me that Dan Crenshaw is indeed a fascist.
Oh, right under the bus. Under the bus.
Not a fan of the man's voting record, but yeah.
Oh, man.
This is the eye patch guy, just for those that don't know who he is.
He has
Correct.
a name, Wes.
Yes, but I'm telling you, just simple
Yeah,
eye patch
simply
guy.
eye patch
Walking
guy.
a fine line there, Wesley.
Right. Navy SEAL 3 times.
I'm not the one who called him a fascist, Pat.
Yeah, all right.
I didn't. Those words were put in my mouth.
Yeah, they were.
I guess, Pat didn't actually say. He described a fascist, and I surmised that. Anyways, I guess Hassan Piker felt exactly the same way because this is his breakdown of the Crenshaw interview with Joe Rogan. Quote, "What the fuck is this dude? What the fuck is wrong with this dude? Didn't he go to war and literally lose his eye because some mujahideen," which mujahideen means a guy who's on a jihad, by the way.
Nice.
A brave fucking soldier fucked his eye hole with their dick.
Yeah, not defendable.
Yeah.
There's
no explanation for that.
He was trying to make a point, but he fucked it up, and he said some things that he really should not have said by any means.
Yeah.
You got to respect your service people.
I tried to make a point to my mom one time when she didn't tell me "Hey Dude" was on, and I got out of the shower when I was 7, and I was mad and I flicked her off, but I didn't make the right point.
Hold on, no.
Sometimes
I beg to differ. You did make the right point there because it was before TiVo, and you never knew when "Hey Dude" was going to be back on.
Sometimes you maybe stop with the brave soldier mujahideens or whatever the fuck.
That's
3-time Navy SEAL tour heroes in the eye hole when they actually lost their eye.
Right.
Like, there's no
So
no
let's break that part down. Piker asked those questions on Tuesday on his Twitch stream, which I guess had been restored magically since the last time he was on our show when the Twitch stream was taken down. Hassan had also said that America brought 9/11 on ourselves, and he believes that
Hassan was on a heater.
Yeah, he was. He believes all of this, that he's justified in saying all of this because he disagrees with American foreign policy in the Middle East, which has been to support terrorist groups when it's been advantageous to us, particularly leaning on the example of Al-Qaeda. So he believes that because he doesn't like American foreign policy, that Dan Crenshaw had his eye fucked out by a mujahideen. And that 9/11 was caused by America.
Yeah, you can simply say you don't like the foreign policy.
It sounds to me like he's trying to get on some kind of list so he can create like airport videos of him being harassed.
He was trying to get attention.
Foreign policy is complicated and fucked up, but he did the wrong thing.
We shouldn't even be talking about
which is interesting, Mark. Dan Crenshaw a former Navy SEAL, as you said, lost his eye to an IED while on active duty in Afghanistan. Not to the reasons that
No,
Piker
it wasn't
said.
it wasn't a kidnapping, eye cutting out, eye fucking. It wasn't that.
And,
it was
right, and so
bullshit.
because of all this, I thought it must have just been a mistake, right? So I started looking for an apology posted by Hassan, but I didn't really find one. Instead, what I found was Hassan said this on Twitter on Thursday night, and he was responding to somebody, Mark, who said that he was looking for attention.
He is.
Like you just said. Yeah. He said, I immediately deleted the VOD, all the clips, and shut the stream off. I knew it would get, or it could get misconstrued. And so
you think?
He keeps saying that he took it down because he felt he knew what he said was wrong, but he's not apologizing at all. He's also claiming that because he took it down, he's not looking for attention, which doesn't make any sense.
I also don't think you can misconstrue it.
No.
I think
No.
yeah, I mean, you can't misconstrue what he said.
There's no alternate explanation.
You could listen to it and get angry is what he meant to say.
Right. That's about the only reaction. Yeah. So my only conclusion here is that Hassan Piker, as he reported to us when he came on the show to discuss the Democratic debates, I think he does indeed suffer from having too much testosterone.
Yeah, we believe it now. It was a little weird that he said it, but now we believe it.
It was very strange. We asked him how he got his hair so great, and his response was that he naturally generates too much testosterone and takes hair replacement products on top of the extra T.
Well, I think that's why he took I'd have to listen back. We were a little drunk. It was the post show after like a 4-hour debate. But,
right.
I think he's saying he had to do it because he streams so much and he has so much testosterone that he was losing hair, so he takes multiple hair products. But he did say that his body generates too much testosterone.
He said his T is off the charts.
To give a counterpoint here, as a guy with great hair and low T, it is possible. It is possible to have both.
Well, I don't know, but Hassan told us, Pat, that his T was just absolutely off the charts, and I think that he's right. I think he's dealing with high T disease.
I think he's a liar.
Because that's the only reason he would say something crazy like this. Anyways, taking it to the internet, our comment today is from Facebook, from Mickey Vigneri, who says, I'm still waiting for someone to release all of the videos of the plane striking the Pentagon.
Wow,
and
that's a good point.
You might wonder, why is that our Facebook comment for this story? Those are the only people siding with Hassan Piker are the 9/11 truthers.
You know, I wasn't wondering that
Mickey's been waiting for over 15 years for this video.
Almost 20. I was wondering, where are the videos of the plane striking the Pentagon?
Yeah.
Why haven't they been released yet?
Mickey's a hoarder. I would also like to say that I am absolutely on record taking back my offer to smoke weed with Hassan. I don't want to smoke weed with that guy. You can't get close to somebody with that high of a T. No amount of weed would chill that guy out.
His T is way too high. I mean, the T would just you'd get punched. Also, Pat, perhaps not the smartest man on the internet.
Yeah, well,
perhaps not.
He said
you did call him the smartest man on the internet like 10 times.
I love his takes on stuff. This was a bad take, real bad take.
a little bit, huh?
I would say so. All right, let's move on. Okay, so it's time for my favorite part of the show, and that's because we're going to talk a little bit of gambling. Before we get into this, you might want to hit pause on whatever device you're listening to and go to predictit.org/promo/hardfactor20 to get a free $20 for your first time deposit matched. It's free bucks. And then you can bet on political futures. It's the best way to bet on political futures and stuff in the news. It's fucking awesome. It's a blast. You'd be crazy to listen to the show daily and not want to do this.
Hold on, and real quick, Mom, I know you're listening. You can't pause your device, so don't listen to what Mark said.
Well, just do it. Do it
no,
in parallel.
She can't pause the device.
Do it in parallel.
She's on Alexa, but Mom,
take a note.
Mom, just keep listening.
Write it down.
Everyone else but my mom, listen to that.
Go to predictit.org/promo/hardfactor20 whenever you can. Keep listening. I personally laid down a cool hundo on 2 brackets for the weekly Donald Trump tweets, and I actually went with the middle 2 brackets against my own advice because
he slowed down.
He slowed way down. In fact,
slowed way down.
On the smallest bands, but I think I know him. He's going to speed it back up. So I'm going to nail it with those middle 2 bands. But I'm not here to talk about that today. Today, my best bet of the week is to bet on our favorite toy train conductor, former presidential candidate John Hickenlooper, to win the Colorado Senate seat. He has now announced he's running, so get on that. The Democrats have a minority in the Senate. It's like 53-47, and they're going after Senate seats like West goes after alcoholic seltzers aggressively.
Yeah, well, after the beer is through.
Yeah,
because it's not his first choice.
If he can't get the beer,
then he goes to the seltzers. There's backup.
You ever seen West shotgun a Truly? It's incredible.
Yeah,
and
speaking of somebody who can't turn down like an election like a Truly, Beto O'Rourke. I would bet heavily on him eventually running for Senate.
Well, yes, this is a theme. Anyone that's dropping out of the Democratic presidential thing and running for Senate, those are good odds.
But
Being
Beto's market price on that went down because he's been claiming that he's not going to run if he drops out of the race, but he cannot turn down an election.
Yeah. No, he I'm sure he's just going to sit a few plays out. Yeah, that guy doesn't love attention. Anyways, like I was saying, the reason the Democrats think that this is a lock is because
He's running for president.
Yeah, the incumbent Republican Cory Gardner in Colorado is very vulnerable, they think. So they're going to be pumping a lot of money into Hickenlooper's campaign, the Dems are, looking for some brand new Air Force-style jackets and aviator combos. You look for those coming to your television screens and ads for Hickenlooper in the near future, and put money on the Democrats winning the Colorado Senate seat on predictit.org/promo/hardfactor20 if you want to make some money.
Yeah, here's why this
If you
is a
don't want to
lock.
make some money, then whatever.
The first state to legalize marijuana, you better believe that they're going to flip
Which
that.
Hickenlooper was like the number one guy
If
for.
you have one,
governor.
if there's one chance to make a lock, it's this right now. Bet Hickenlooper to win the Senate
Right now,
seat.
it's at like 70-ish cents, 70-something cents for the
The
Democrats.
big
to win.
challenge
It's
is
a
going to
lock.
be getting the voting base awake
But
on election day.
Let's get to Florida Man Friday.
Yeah,
All right.
come on, let's go.
All right, I've got a fapping story out of Thonotosassa, Florida, to lead off Florida Man Friday. The name Thonotosassa comes from the Seminole Creek words Renato, which means flint, and Sazav, which means some. So everyone knew back in the day this now small Florida town had some, but not a ton of valuable flint.
Oh, I love that. That was so informative, Mark. How did you? What is that? Where did that come from?
My source is Wikipedia.
Okay.
So what's going on in Thonotosassa these days, you ask?
What's going on in Thonotosassa these
Some
days?
Flint.
Thank you, Pat. Well, one thing's for sure. There's a 300-pound-plus man who keeps sneaking into a construction site and masturbating in the middle of the night.
Mm-hmm.
The man who has been caught on... yeah, sorry. I should have paused. You're right.
Well,
I should have paused.
You expect him to masturbate during the middle of the day there? Come on.
You're right. I should have paused. The man who has been caught on camera several times and is believed to be between 29 and 35 years old and to die soon, by the looks of him, has snuck into a Hillsborough County construction site about 20 miles north of Tampa at least 3 times in the last 6 weeks, removed all of his clothing, and masturbated to completion, presumably finishing on a...
They're not even investigating the case. It's just doctors wondering how he can get an erection.
Yeah, like,
See,
how does he get his hand to his dick is the question. And I love how he gets completely naked too. Like he doesn't leave his shirt on or socks
What a
on.
beast,
Yeah,
man.
he goes all the way.
Hold on. How do you masturbate? This is this man's
Sometimes with clothes on.
This is
With
this
some
man's.
clothes on.
This is his sacred ground.
Yeah.
This guy clearly there's a special place to him. Maybe he loves construction.
I'm
It
surprised he
gets
doesn't-
him hot.
I'm surprised he doesn't have headphones on his favorite song going.
Yeah, every other time he masturbates, he's like, I wish I was in a construction site.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I wish I was on camera on
I was on
somebody's
a construction
camera.
site.
He does seem to be knowing there's a camera there. Police have no idea who the man is or how he even got into the construction site, as they have not been able to see like his entry point or tie any sort of vehicle near the site to him.
Yeah, that's because he's taking a bus, Mark. He doesn't own a fucking car. This guy's taking a bus to beat it at this construction site.
He's just breathing heavily on the bus. My theory, Pat, is
Where are you going?
What do you think his pump up playlist is like when he's on the bus?
I don't. I
Like
can't-
we got like a little Phil Collins
Captain
in the air
Neil.
tonight.
I don't want
All
to. I
yacht
don't want to
rock.
think
He's
that.
like just rubbing his thighs.
I listen to Phil Collins' pump up. Well, come on. So my theory is this guy.
I'll be right there, honey.
I think he's watching porn on his phone on the bus.
Oh,
Let me get to
loudly.
track 6.
Yeah, loudly.
Kill them all, honey.
He's like pausing it at certain scenes. My theory is this guy is just an obese serial masturbating ghost that is somehow caught on whatever security cameras they have at this construction site. And I'm pretty sure if ghosts exist, that they would masturbate, I don't know, in public about 90% of their existence. So I think that backs the theory up. You have to see this guy
Solid.
to believe him, though. We will put a picture of him in the blog, so don't worry about that.
It's
But
like the Slimer of masturbation.
It's a waist up picture. So
That's
you're good.
great.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So 74-year-old Gary Van Ryswick of Sebring, Florida, he got a little bit in over his head on Sunday night when the home castration surgery he was performing on another man just didn't go as planned.
Wow.
Say what?
You heard me. Deputies
Sounds like those high probability to be fucked up.
Yeah.
it's possible.
Murphy's Law in that scenario, you know?
Well, let's get into it, boys. Yeah, deputies arrived at Gary's home just before midnight in response to a 911 hang-up call, which makes total sense because the situation wasn't really something you could explain easily over the phone.
He's like, just get here.
Just, you really need to be here. Upon arrival, Gary got right to the point, telling police that he just removed another man's testicles and things were getting sideways pretty quick. The hole where the patient's balls once were just wouldn't stop bleeding.
He's like, hang on, move out of the way. I'm going to shove an iron up his hole.
Yeah, he's a cauterizer.
Yeah, cauterizer, yeah.
Don't you think he knows that? Authorities pushed inside into the guest room where they found a 53-year-old man who had freshly become a eunuch and was covering up his groin with a bloody towel.
Yeah, this story is tough, man.
Yeah, the man was flown to the hospital where he went under, quote, life-saving measures. According to Gary,
Why did this happen?
well, the two men met on a website for those who have a fetish for castration.
It was on the dark web, yeah.
There's a website devoted to that?
Yeah, in the dark web.
How'd this guy
What's
make
the
it
URL?
It was a eunuchlovers.com.
Guys, I Googled it, and then I promptly canceled my internet subscription. I'm going to renew it tomorrow. Couldn't find the site.
It's impressive he made it to 53 with these kind of decisions.
Right.
You've got to imagine that most of the other 10 people on the site thought it was like a dark joke, and this story comes out and they're like, maybe we should leave this site.
Yeah, maybe we should get off the site.
Yeah.
Guys, the operation began around 10 o'clock in a bedroom that Gary had converted into a makeshift surgical room.
And ended at 10:02.
No, it went for 2 hours, Mark. Yeah. Things went way wrong when the patient's uncontrollable bleeding made it challenging for Gary to close the sac wound. Now, before you guys go
How could he have been sawing at somebody's nutsack for 2 hours?
He was hammered
Like-
and his blood was thin.
Well, it was a 2-second operation, and it was 2 hours of Gary pacing around the room being like, oh, stop bleeding. You need to stop bleeding.
right. Like,
Obviously it was the guy who got his testicles removed first time because he had, his testicles removed. He had them, then he didn't.
Right.
Only
First time.
once. You
But
can only
I
go
imagine
once.
it was Gary's first time as well.
You'd think that, Mark.
The way it went down.
But before you go judging Gary, I think it's important to know that this was not his first snipping. Gary wouldn't just go around promising to be a castration expert if he hadn't tried the procedure on himself first, right? Yeah, he cut his own balls off back in 2012.
He cut his own balls off?
Yeah, he confessed to authorities that he took his own set in 2012, but he also admitted that his ball removal
It
skills.
went fine when I did it.
Yeah, his ball removal skills were kind of a toss-up because he also admitted that he'd done a similar procedure on a man in a local motel a few years ago, and it also did not end well.
Yeah, that guy was dead.
Yeah, the man died.
That guy was
Gary is
ballless
just a
dead.
walking nightmare.
If he's a major
The
leaguer,
cops like, we found him.
I think this guy's got both his balls.
you think
He's just a
For
liar.
sure. He's a liar. He's got both his balls.
Guys, luckily we're living in a review-based economy these days, and I'm assuming that Gary won't be getting a 5-star review on the castration surgery website that he found this man on, so things should work themselves out. But
Oh, man.
Wow.
All right, moving on.
Good luck following that one.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. So when you ask your girlfriend to come visit you at work and she shows up in a Cadillac that you've never seen, the common thing might be to say, hey, honey, that's a nice car. I've never seen you in it before. Who the hell are you fucking behind my back?
That's your first thought?
Yep.
It might be.
Not she won the lottery. Or
No,
Brand new car. Brand new car.
Where did it come from?
Wes is always thinking, well, that's an older car. Who are you fucking?
Yeah.
That's
I
a
mean,
newer
brand
car.
new car. Where is that coming from? There's only like two.
I couldn't get in touch with you for an hour. Who are you fucking?
Yeah.
I just bought a new car, and Wes said that to me out of habit when I came
Yeah.
up.
You
And
got
he
a
was
car about who are you fucking?
and he's like, oh, shit, I'm sorry.
Who you fucking? But that's not
What
what
other excuse is there? There's none. There's no
no
other.
other excuse. Not a rental.
There's 100.
But that's not what.
not a rental yet.
That's not what 20-year-old Hunter
Wes
Mills
is like,
did.
that's too old for a rental.
So no Hunter, who likely is not known for asking questions first and taking action second, did the opposite. Upon seeing his girlfriend roll up to his work in Crestview, Florida, in the strange caddy, where he had asked her to come to have a friendly conversation, likely about who she was fucking behind his back, he snapped and immediately knew she was fucking a guy who owned that caddy.
He's Sherlock Holmes.
He
Even
figured it out.
even Hunter could figure it out.
He deduced it all by himself. So he, upon figuring that out, he climbed into a front-loading tractor, a front-loader, one of those big scoop guys.
Hold on. He had that fucking on standby. If he called her over for a conversation, he thought he had the front loader on standby, gassed up.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like,
He's been talking
up in the air.
He's been talking to his friends about this for a while. I'm gonna
yeah.
get her with the front loader.
as soon as he decided she had cheated, he's like, and that's why I called you out to this field where I got my
Watch.
dump truck.
She's going to roll up in the caddy.
Swear to
Watch.
God, Brian, if she rolls up in that caddy, you better have that front loader ready.
He's like, before we have this conversation, can you get back in the car and back it in? Can you back it? Back
Roll
it
down
in?
the windows.
Yeah, roll down the
I
windows.
can't hear you. I can't hear you.
Yeah. So upon figuring that out, he climbed to the front loader, scooped up a bucket, or maybe it was just already ready to go, as Pat said. And I presume his now ex-girlfriend was inside. Actually, we were kidding. She probably bailed him out just hours later.
We're talking about
it's
this
Florida.
is Florida
That's right.
Fridays.
That's right. Yeah. So he filled the car with dirt, probably messed up the caddy lip. Didn't look like it was that
Just
damaged.
dropped loads of
He
dirt on
dropped
top
a
of the
big
car?
load of dirt on the caddy inside
Nice.
the car. He's charged with criminal mischief, and now she knows he really does care.
I hope your new boyfriend has collision.
And they're definitely still
They're
together.
still together.
The next Florida tale of lore comes straight out of Lake Worth Beach, Florida, which is Palm Beach County, Florida, a place that needs no frivolous facts.
Oh, come on, Mark.
I just didn't do that. I just didn't have the time.
Understood.
Michael Latursky, a 37-year-old man who lives in Lake Worth Beach, opened his apartment door one morning in late July, and a wild kinkajou, is that how you say it was? Kinkajou?
Nailed it.
Ran in and bit him in his leg and scratched him. So the kinkajou is an adorable little animal that I knew nothing about and had to look up, but apparently it's a small tree-dwelling mammal native to Central and South America because it is a tropical rainforest animal that also goes by the name of honey bear. And if we've learned anything, it's that animals with honey as the prefix will fuck you up because they don't give a fuck about anything. They do whatever they want.
That's very true.
A woman who witnessed the incident at the Lake Worth Beach, Florida apartment said it sounded like a 300-pound man was tackling him in his kitchen. The furry mammal with sharp claws clung to Michael's leg as he fought to get it out, and he managed to then eventually trap it in the bathroom. He just shoot it off. He's like, "Get out of here!" and he locked it in the bathroom. So sheriff deputies came to help remove the kinkajou, and Latursky's girlfriend, Jillian Hicks, said it would make some noise, and we heard it. Sheriffs would kind of open the door a little bit to see what it was doing,
That's rude.
and it was up on the shower curtain staring at us.
Saying, someone's in here.
We heard the toilet lid open and shut a few times when the door was shut, so it's just it's like going through the cabinets.
It just wants to get out of there.
Yeah,
escape route.
it was nuts. It was a wild animal.
It was looking for opioids.
They were able to catch the kinkajou when the deputies were joined by officers with the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission and animal control personnel, and then the animal was taken to an animal facility where they still don't know where the animal came from. It's just chilling in this facility. My guess is check the house of whoever OD'd recently in the town, and you're going to find a few more kinkajous probably.
You seen a kinkajou?
all kinds of illegal amphibious
And
rodents.
other rainforest mammals.
Yeah.
Michael is not totally innocent, though, in this story, and his girlfriend isn't either, as he and his girlfriend found the kinkajou the day before and thought it was cute and fed it watermelon overnight. So the next day when they opened the door and there was no more watermelon, what the fuck did they think was going to
the
happen?
kinkajou is like, I'm going to eat you now.
That's on them. That's on them.
Yeah.
All right, guys, you know what makes Florida great? It's the little differences.
Okay.
For example, in Florida, finders keepers is the most respected cultural law in the land. That's just a fact. People in Florida respect finders keepers more than they do any of the 10 Commandments.
Yeah, it goes Second Amendment, finders keepers, 10 Commandments, First Amendment.
It's on my property. It's mine.
Yeah, I got it. Guys, unfortunately, one man had to learn the common law the hard way last month when he went for a jog around his neighborhood in Oakland Park, Florida. The man jogged by a trash pile on the street in front of a vacant home and thought, yeah, he'd check it out to see if there's anything good in there. Quick side note, dumpster diving makes up 30% of Florida's economy. So
and 80% of Mount Trashmore.
100%. 100%.
Economy.
Yeah, the jogger must be new to the state because he was playing with some serious fire as there was already another man looking at the pile when he arrived. And by Florida common law, that man effectively had dibs on all the riches in the pile.
Look, not only is this guy new to the state of Florida, he's new to the game of life. If you see somebody rummaging through a trash pile, you don't fucking walk over there. You give a wide berth.
Yeah.
I agree with you, Will, but I think that the trash pile finders keeper rule is kind of like playing pool at a pool hall where you lay down quarters for next game. I think it's like whoever lays down the AA chip first.
Exactly. You got 10 years?
Yeah, the oldest, the 3-month chip beats a 6-month chip. Whoever's relapsed the first. Whoever lays the chip out first.
Well, no one in Florida's ever gotten more than a 6-month chip.
Or whoever points the gun at your face first.
Right. Guys, so the jogger took a liking to a black, heavy dump cart and decided to take it. And naturally, the man who was there first was confused and then upset because he clearly had first rights to pile. The men exchanged words, but the jogger wouldn't back down, and he started heading home with that cart. But when the jogger got back to his house, he realized that the man had followed him home.
So he went on a detour on his jog and just wanted some trash?
Well, his as he was running out the door, as you do when you're jogging in Florida, he's like, bring me something back.
This jogger was not totally blameless in this.
No,
You're right.
No, he wasn't.
So
when
he's
he
instigating the guy.
Yeah, but when he got back to his house, he noticed that the man had followed him home and was closing in on him while gripping what he thought was a red stick. But as the man got closer, he unleashed a katana sword.
Oh, just a bloody knife.
Exactly.
A bloody sword.
Like a fucking 4-foot sword, and began swinging at the man while attempting to wrestle away the cart.
I don't see why you'd be surprised you met this man rummaging through the trash. Like
he's got a 4-foot sheath. I'm sure it's fine.
Yeah, I'm sure it's just a red stick. I do have to say, guys, the man with the sword was he swung really recklessly at the jogger, but then carefully when the sword almost hit the dump cart. So,
oh, nice. So
Yeah.
that's like the tale of like who is the mom, and then they're like, let's tear the baby in half, and she's like, no, you keep him.
Yeah.
When he was getting close to the cart,
as you can tell,
it should be the homeless guy's
Mark
cart.
was raised in a non-denominational church. Anyway, as he got closer,
no churches here, buddy.
the man backed down when he realized that he was being videotaped, and he relented. And this must have been a very high quality cart, as I alluded to earlier, because the jogger left it in his front yard, and shortly thereafter, on video, a woman rolls up, grabs the cart, and starts hauling it away.
hot item.
Yeah, investigators say they believe that the sword man knows the woman who took the cart, so there's a good chance that she's no longer in possession of the cart or her head.
Yeah, she's so dead.
She's so fucking dead, dude.
Dead. Why do you think the sheath is red? It's just to camouflage the blood on the sword.
I just love
Clear sheath.
I did. Yeah, it's a clear sheath. I did see the video. He tried to kill him.
Right, but when he swung near the cart, he pulled back. You don't want to damage that cart.
All right, we got 4 left. Let's rock them out.
All right. So the pool and barbecue of a New York couple's luxury Florida home in the Ibis Golf community was completely destroyed by vandals who were shitting and puking everywhere, having themselves quite the party.
Not a surprise.
Yeah. And no, the invaders were not your run-of-the-mill Florida meth heads or bath salt enthusiasts. They were, in fact, vultures who had broken through the
You're going to have to... Are you talking about
the
people
birds?
Oh, the birds. Okay.
The birds. The big ugly birds.
Okay.
So-
Actual vultures.
Yes, yes. So they had broken through the screen enclosures to the pool and were just running amok. The Casamanos, whose home cost them over $700,000, said the smell the vultures caused was like that of 1,000 rotting corpses.
Which, if you're in Florida, you know that smell well.
Well, also, if you're in Florida and you have a $700,000 house, what is that? Infinity square feet?
Yeah, I know.
It's a lot.
It's a mansion.
Yeah.
In Ibis, I don't know where that is, but
$700,000 house in Florida. What do they own the town?
yeah, exactly. So in the few times they did visit the home, they had to park inside the garage to escape being attacked by these vultures. So there's no chance of hell they were selling this house, which I'm sure they wanted to. Their neighbor says she had it even worse because she lives next to some psycho who is feeding these disgusting birds dog food and raw chicken. That neighbor, yeah. Yeah,
There's the evil witch that's creating the problem. It sounds like you need to take her out.
She's enabling the vultures.
Yeah,
Nice.
she's creating the whole problem. So that neighbor,
What kind of a fucking person raises an army of vultures?
Probably someone that's jealous of the biggest house in the neighborhood
Also,
by tenfold.
it wasn't a lady,
into
guys,
Wiccan.
because in Florida, Florida's like Golden Corral for vultures with all the retirees out there. It's like their mecca.
Yeah, but she's feeding them. She's creating a vulture
Purposely
army that's
feeding
taking over this vacant house.
it doesn't take much to create like a swarm of vultures. You just got to feed them once or twice, and they're
Wes will
everywhere.
tell you.
Yeah, I mean, my son's school is a dumpster. Just vultures are everywhere. On
Definitely some left alone cats have been eaten by these vultures too.
Right.
And, yeah.
I'm sorry,
Get
Mark.
this lady out of the fucking neighborhood. What's so complicated?
Yeah, well, Cheryl Katz paints a pretty specific picture.
All right.
She says, imagine 20 vultures trapped, biting each other, and they can bite through bones. They would bang against my windows, running away from a bird that was attacking them. Blood was everywhere. It was vile, vicious, traumatic event. And to make matters worse, it was Memorial Day, so no company on call would come out to help me. Can you imagine?
Yeah. The police aren't on a call on Memorial Day. They all just take the day off.
Yeah, well-
sure. Cheryl Katz.
Yeah.
And yeah, you couldn't like just stay inside. You had to feed them delicious protein.
Right. Well, it being Florida, some people had some suggestions to how to get rid of the vultures. Of course, fireworks were brought up, and one person suggested
Shoot a bottle rocket at it.
stuffing one of the vultures.
They're like, just shoot them inside your house. It'll distract the noise of the vultures.
Yeah. Yeah. Or one guy suggested stuffing one of the vultures and hanging it upside down like a coyote on a ranch.
Yeah.
And,
The
just to
scarecrow
scare 'em away.
vulture.
Yeah.
They're all local comments.
Yeah. So, yeah, obviously Will said it right. The lady here is the problem. That's feeding the vultures.
Let's get her out of town.
Yeah.
My last story is also a wildlife-related Florida man story, but it's not as lighthearted as my kinkajou tale, I am afraid. An 88-year-old Palm Bay man was arrested for animal cruelty after police say he trapped a raccoon and burned it alive because the raccoon had eaten the grumpy old man's mangoes.
Couldn't just relocate it, huh?
Yeah, no, you don't eat this guy's mangoes.
That's
If it was a human, he would have burned it alive.
rightfully so.
Urza
He
James,
takes his mangoes very seriously.
he does. Urza James is losing his mind. The 88-year-old man told the
You think these mangoes just grow on trees?
he's lived too long to have a fucking raccoon eat his mangoes. There he is. Urza James, the 88-year-old man, told the local news that he threw gasoline on the raccoon after he trapped it and just lit a match and tossed it in. James said he was afraid the raccoon might have rabies, so I guess he was going to burn the rabies out of it.
Burn them off.
A neighbor called 911 as the raccoon was burning alive in a metal trap, probably because of the screaming raccoon noises and maybe the smell. Police officers shot the raccoon to ease its suffering and probably just went home and was like, Jesus Christ.
Good
They
for the
shot
raccoon.
a crispy raccoon.
Yeah.
All right, guys, this next story is perhaps the most scary story the United States has ever seen. That, of course, since the invention of the atomic bomb.
Nailed it.
Alligators are widely known as America's apex predator. For thousands of years, humans have been hanging on by a thread as the only living species above the crocodilian reptile on the food chain. And unfortunately for us, that's all about to change, because last week, photographs of evolution happening in real time were captured at the Naval Air Station in Jacksonville, Florida, when Christina Stewart observed an alligator scaling a chain link fence.
Yeah.
Yikes.
No,
I feel like we've never really been above them on the food chain. I mean, I guess we do eat them, but like they're a
leave us
reminder
alone.
to us that we will die long before they will.
Yeah, they just leave us alone. That video was scary. It was a big alligator. And it scaled a big fence very quickly. And
Those things have been around like millions of years.
Well, you know what this means, guys? It means that alligators have somehow evolved to overcome the dexterity issues caused by their comically short arms.
they've been made fun of enough.
Yeah, and now these razor-toothed dinosaurs can't be held by vertical barriers, and there's not much that can stop them from eliminating the human race. I just hope that the fact that this took place on a military base will play into our favor, and the missing link can be killed before he can show other gators what they're capable of. If you have children, I recommend you lock them in bite-proof cages immediately. For now, all we can do is arm ourselves and pray that the rest of the gator population never learns what they're capable of.
Yeah, I mean, in 2025, a large portion of Florida is going to be underwater and completely ran by alligators.